Kia ora, Nadine. Welcome to the Dunedin Stories podcast.
Thank you.
It's so lovely to have you here.
You're
I
welcome.
feel like I've known you for most of my life, although it's probably about 16 years.
Yeah.
Would you like to introduce to our audience who you are and what you do?
I'm Nadine. Currently I work in an MP's electorate office for Ingrid Leary. I've done that role for 10 years and I'm on my second MP. And
Who was your first MP?
Claire Curran.
Claire was?
So she plucked me out of the union movement,
Okay.
thinking that it might be a good fit, the advocacy work I'd been doing for a few years.
Ingrid's in the Mosgiel electorate?
Taieri. And so we go from South Dunedin to Kaka Point, out to Middlemarch, covering Lawrence, Balclutha and Milton.
There's a lot of land.
Yeah, I get around.
Yeah, you do.
So the role's changed, so I'm very mobile. So I spend Mondays in Milton, Tuesdays in Balclutha, Wednesdays and Thursdays I'm in Mosgiel, and Fridays and Mondays here in South Dunedin.
Wow. And is this role primarily sort of taking on the community's concerns and hearing them, digesting them?
So I'm a community advisor. So my role is to be the ears and the eyes for the electorate, to listen to what's going on, where people have problems with government departments, especially if they hit a brick wall. Then it's my role to take those bricks down so that the communication can go and make sure that people are getting what they're entitled to.
Yeah.
A lot of our work is also in immigration, because electorate offices under the legislation are and we don't have to, we're exempt from licensing, so we're able to help people. Mostly it's someone who becomes unlawful or domestic violence visas or sometimes migrant exploitation.
Right. Sounds like a really large job description, Nadine.
It is.
Yeah.
So on one day I could have somebody that's homeless, just been evicted, through to someone who's going to be evicted from the country.
And you'll be a bit of a filter, are you, to all of the amazing organisations and people and places that offer services as well?
Sort of an information.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm one of those walking encyclopedias.
Who does what in the city?
Yeah, and quite often you have a conversation with someone and you go, oh yes, but you could do, and that sort of thing. So you have to tone it back sometimes. But it's not party political. It's a role that's supportive of the MP. However, you do need to have leanings and values the same as the MP you represent.
Yeah. You have a degree in politics? Is that always something you were going to do?
I do. I have done polls, but it was I was married. My marriage had broken up, and financially I was being hit, and I was being hit hard by IRD, and so I ended up being told to go to an MP's office. So I did, and they managed to get IRD to back off, because if you are a partner of someone in a company in those days, we're talking 20, 30 years ago, accountants had the wife on the books and you were 100% responsible for the bills. So where my husband left, we'll put it in a nice way.
Put that in a box.
He didn't just leave, he left me with all the shit. So I ended up having to clean all that up. But the MP's office was Jim Anderton. They got that sorted within hours. Couldn't believe it. And I saw the piles of folders on his desk and talked about it, and I thought, that's the job I want. Wow. So it took a few years, because you have to have quite a broad range of skills and knowledge that and they don't come up very often, those roles, because you only have one MP in your area, or in Dunedin we're lucky we've got two. City's split in half, plus then there's a few list MPs floating around. So it took a while, but eventually
it's probably less about the quals and more about the empathy.
Empathy is huge, and life experience, and being able to, I think, I did 10 years with Idea Services as well. I'd had enough of office work and gave that a go. I thought I'd just leave my office job and get a new one.
Out of one and into
6 months later, I was still looking. So I thought, I'll take the job at IHC. It'll get me through, because I have a disabled daughter. I loved it. So I actually spent 10 years doing that before I shifted over to work for Claire. We'd been, probably what brought me to her notice might have been a sleepover case.
Okay.
So that was, do you know about that one?
I'm not sure, maybe. I'm a bit like you. I take on everything and then just put it into little compartments. And
Sleepover case was, IHC workers were spending from 10 p.m. at night to 6 a.m. sleeping over in their homes for $32 a night. Couldn't leave, can't do anything you want to do. Every other company in town was paying 3 times that.
Yeah, no, I am aware of
So
this.
their unions took it to court and were quite shocked, thrilled that the judge said it's a minimum wage for the whole time. So it made a huge impact. And I'm proud of the work I did do with that in Dunedin specifically.
Yeah.
And
well, that would have had ramifications throughout the country and throughout the industry, or
and it was more centred in the North Island, but every IHC I think had 4,000 staff at the time, so they're throughout New Zealand. So it really hugely impacted, but it was great. So we won. I got my power and I got my house.
Very good. So with the community advisor's role, is there like a strong network across the country and you get to share with all
Absolutely.
of those?
So it doesn't, and when we meet, we're not party aligned.
Right.
So
there's no red T-shirts anywhere. Come on.
No, I think when you're new, they might turn up with something wearing the colour.
Yeah.
So that you've got a slight indication.
Yeah.
But that's if you're on a big group. Yeah. But generally, if we're meeting locally, it's Otago, Southland.
Right.
And you can't all work on the same cases.
No.
So you sort of
sharing
do a little bit of cooperation to make sure around casework. Everything else, no, you wouldn't be that friendly. Well, no, you're friendly, but you wouldn't be doing each other's work. If it's their area, then you'd send it to them.
Sure. And is Dunedin offering anything unique in that environment? Do we have particular challenges or issues?
Housing is always going to be an issue in Dunedin until we get more. And the problem is the infrastructure in the city, having enough of it. Where do you build in Dunedin alone? Up in the hills, or it's having the right amount of land available. And then, of course, more skill, it's spread as well.
And it's growing, and then they've got the traffic problems and everything that goes with that.
And the other specific, I think, is a big issue for Dunedin is the cost of renting. It's out of control. Like, I mean, when I first started this job, you could rent a 3-bedroom home for $220 a week.
You can't even get a room for that now.
No. And it's not like the housing's changed.
No. The stock isn't.
No, it has just got more and more and more. But for a lot of the people on the low income, they might get an income accommodation supplement.
Yeah.
But it hasn't changed. The rates haven't changed very much. And not only that, Dunedin is considered on the lower scale. So if it grades between 1 and 4, Auckland being the highest subsidy you could get because their rents are high, and Dunedin being one of the lowest, that's not true anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of pain out there, isn't there, Nadine?
So I know that Ingrid and Rachel are both working hard to try and get that realised, that it isn't a fair system. But the problem is if you keep throwing more accommodation supplements in it, is it actually
the rent's
just going to go up?
I know.
The rents keep going up.
It's a beautiful vicious circle, isn't it?
It is. So if I was changing anything, I would want to change that.
Are you a Dunedin girl?
Yes, from 4.
From 4?
From 4. I was born in Ernstcleugh.
Oh, okay.
So central, and moved here at 4. I'm Brockville.
Brockville lady?
Through and through, yes.
Very good.
Most of the time you wouldn't realise, but if I get mad, you pretty well hear it.
Well, I spent my first 5 years in Brockville as well, so I'm familiar with that.
It's amazing how many great people have come out of Brockville, and some of our top social services people are education. I think of people like Pip Lafiso and of course Marie and a few others. So they're making changes, which is good.
Yeah, they got a real...
Shane Carter. There you go. Throw that one out there.
Shane Carter.
He was in my class at school.
I was very lucky to be on a stage with him last year, the year before. I was just blown away with his storytelling ability. He's just amazing.
Yeah, when I read his book, the first few chapters, it's like going back to school. Because, like I said, we're in the same class. He lived across the road, or just down the road a little bit. But yeah, takes you back.
What about some Dunedin places that you love? Have you got anything that you want to share the love on?
I've always liked Whare Flat.
Yeah.
So I always.
Well, we have not had that yet, so well done.
So I love Whare Flat.
Yeah. Do you go to the music festival?
No, I've been a couple of times, so it is good.
Yeah.
I usually go out on that day that they have the open day and the
Yeah.
they used to have boot sales and things. I haven't been for a wee while.
Last time I went, it rained terribly and we ended up in a giant mud bath rolling down the hill. Yeah. It was lots of fun.
Esplanade, I think. I quite like that. But the greatest thing I've done lately was Mum gave me tickets for Monarch for the Albatross.
Oh, yes.
And finally got to do that, which was a couple of months ago. I'm going back.
So you,
if I could do
here,
that monthly, I would.
You've been here for 50 years, let's say.
Yeah.
And that's the first time you've been on the Monarch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a really common thing for people that are here.
I think that I thought that it was probably one of those things that was expensive.
And it's not, but it's such an experience.
But you'd spend the same on a dinner out.
Yeah.
So, and we went at lunchtime. Amazing.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how many albatross we saw. They were flying in and out and round the boat. It was absolutely fab.
Did you get some whales or seals or anything?
There was dolphins and lots of other different types of birds, but my eyes were all for the albatross.
Yeah.
There were so many, you just couldn't help it.
It's so special.
Yeah, we're lucky, absolutely lucky. And I tell myself that every time I drive to Mosgiel, because I drive over 3 Mile Hill.
Right, yeah.
And I just love that road.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
Just the view and the fact that seconds from my house, I'm driving through trees and countryside briefly.
Very lucky, aren't we?
Yeah, totally.
We touched on this off camera and I said, some people struggle with this question, but who's a Dunedin legend that you would like to maybe reconnect with or connect with? And
I'd love to meet some of the suffragettes. I definitely want to meet Harriette Morrison because you know I've got a project on that, which is one day I'll pick it up again, hopefully this winter, which is, a lot of people don't know who she was. She was the president of the Tailoresses Union and she wasn't married to any wealthy men back in the day.
Self-made lady.
Yep, so 1890s. And just the work that she did with the sweatshops and the kids running around what's now Carroll Street, I think it was called Walter Street back then. Yeah. Just the no recognition on what she's done. But I don't understand how she managed to stick her head above the parapet. So I'd like to find out what gave her that strength and what was in her background.
Feel the fear and do it anyway. Be courageous. I think we haven't come that far really, have we? We're still got to do all those
And
things.
they did attack her reputation. They did.
Yeah.
They had a go at it,
which
sort of has taken quite a few years, I think, for people to look past and see what that was. But, so I'd like to meet her. Yeah,
that's
definitely.
Awesome. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your project that you're working on?
So,
can you share that?
Yeah, definitely. We've got a lot of amazing men in our history and we recognise them and we celebrate them around the city. We've even got some men who've never been in our city that we celebrate.
We're talking Robbie Burns here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, my dad was adopted. So we found out a bit more about his original family who portray to be connected to Robbie. So I feel if I'm going to criticise, it's fine.
You're allowed to. It's fine.
But where are the women? We've got a couple of streets. And look, good on Christine Gary and that for really pushing the female street names in recent years. But apart from Queen Victoria, who also I doubt was ever here, there isn't anything around the women. So I started to look into like Harriette Morrison, and then we've got Jean Parker. She was PSA, and she was the 1956 equal pay case. She worked for IRD, funny enough, it all comes back to IRD.
Of course it does. It's all about the money.
And they brought in a junior straight out of school. She was married, had 2 children, was the lead in her department, and they paid him more because he had am I allowed to use the word penis?
Wow.
So
it's a piece of the anatomy.
So I call it penis pay. And so he
Instead of
got,
the pink tax.
Yeah, so he got a whole lot more money for it. So she took it to court with PSA and won. They picked on her because she was married. She was a respectable person and wouldn't have been able to be attacked in the media for anything to do with her character or her colour or her lifestyle choices. Yeah. So, and they won. But it took another 20 years on top of that for it to become legislation. And now, of course, we've got more equal pay cases going. My point is, if I didn't say all of that just now, how many people actually knew about it?
Nobody. No.
So there are ways, I think, with technology now that we could do things in the city to make it a whole lot more visual, that we have these women. I'd love to get a workshop where people come along and talk about their grandmothers and the things that they did in the city to make a change and what inspired them.
You know what, Nadine, I think there's a really nice tie-in with Zonta that I'm a part of. There would be a nice wee collab going on here. Yeah. We could do something there. But there is also a bigger part or a vision of your project is to actually have like a tourism element.
Yeah. So I thought, and it sort of came to me when we were doing different things, especially when you've got COVID. We had COVID and you had those, what do you call those things? QR codes, that's the, you could do a walk where you started at Rachel Reynolds, for instance, which we know and is recognisable as one of the leading suffragettes in the city. And as you walk through the city, have placards and stop points, especially in Carroll Street, because there's more than one person that was, especially Rachel Reynolds, also connected to the sweatshops and the children that were running around, that you would be able to use the QR code and hear a bit more about it. But then you also remember that game you had with the Pokemons. So as you walk past posts, if you've got the app on your phone, you could ping that something interesting happened.
Yeah, in Dunedin fashion legends. As you walk down the main street, stop in here, this is Sarah.
So when we were kids, we used to do Sunday drives. Did you ever do that?
Of course.
Yeah. And so we had this book which was called the Mobile South Island Road Guide. I found one in a second-hand shop from my niece, gave it to her. And in it, it's got all these interesting places. So if you decide you're driving to Brighton, then it would tell you what to stop on the side of the road, turn off and have a look. I just found that fascinating growing up. Yeah. And there are things between here and Alexandra I probably would never have known about. But
I don't think that's been digitised.
Probably not. No. But imagine if it was.
Yeah.
And so that if you had an
particular feminism sort of focus, that would be
absolutely. Awesome. You'd be driving along in the car and suddenly it pops up and tells you what happened there. So I think that's the history that's lost.
So if the community were wanting to get in touch with you about this project, because there might be some people that are like, oh, I love that, I'd like to help.
I think if you Google my name.
Nadine Simpson, Dunedin, everybody.
It comes up for Patonk quite regularly.
Excellent.
Because I worked in the Masters Games and I myself jumps up over that, or in Facebook. I'd like to say that you couldn't find me.
Oh, no.
But I think in this day and age it's really kind of easy.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, that's great. And I can tell, obviously, this is such a passion project for you.
Oh, definitely.
I want to see this.
Oh, I'd love to. Like I had the last couple of years, because I've had, as you know, I've had back surgery, so it's sort of put it on the back burner somewhat. Yeah. But I'm much more mobile than I was, so this winter I'm hoping to crack into it, work out what it is we need. So if there is anyone else there that's keen to see something like that happen, it's even, especially someone who's young and knows tech, that would be great.
We should get that group back together perhaps.
Yes, I think so.
Nadine, we've got another little segment, part of our Dunedin stories, called Below the Surface.
Okay.
This is something you haven't been able to prepare for.
Right.
So this is a social game of conversation and connection made in New Zealand, designed by Carly Shorter and Mark Glenn, and it's got 3 levels of questions, and I'm wondering, are you keen to have a wee shot at level 1?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
Let's see.
I was going to go level 2. But
random. When was the last time you did something for the first time?
Well, I just said that because I did the albatross.
You did. That is right.
That was easy.
There you go. Yeah. Is there something else that's on the list that you're like, I really need to do that for the first time?
No, but what I'm doing, well, there is, but what I'm doing is, because my ability challenges, which gives me a plug for the city again while you're here, because I know you're standing for council, is I'm doing I've got my wee scoot, folds up and goes in the boot, so I can be seen whizzing around.
Yeah,
everything I do is full tit, never go slow. So I did the Woodhall Walk in the scoot, and I'm about to do the Logan Park one this week. Yep. So my challenge is for the next, as long as I can, do any walk that's accessible and that I can actually do it. How far on some of the walks can I actually get? Awesome. So I've done a bit of Googling. It's not that easy to find what's accessible.
Yeah, and are you doing feedback on the
I will be, because you know me.
Good.
I think I've already spoken to a couple of councillors about it. When I went recently to the West Coast for the Jackson Bay sequential, because our family settled originally in Jackson's Bay in the 1850s, and I was able to do quite a few walks on the scooter. I mean, walk's a bit of a, can you do it on crutches or a stick, or in my case on my wee tiny scooter. For those who don't know what it is, it's called a travel scoot. It has a seat on it, and it's electric, and it just allows me to get from a lot further than what I could normally go. So a lot of the West Coast ones, they're really accessible, were wonderful, absolutely. But I'm trying to find how many we've got around Dunedin that are the same, and how easy is it for people like myself to then do. I realised when I was over there how much I missed it, being out in the fresh air. We can't get down to our beaches very well here, and there are things I'd love to redo, which I'm never going to be able to do. I'm keen to get somebody on a GoPro or one of those things to film going down Smales Beach, or remember the sand dunes when we were kids.
I was just thinking about the GoPro perhaps would be a good way to capture your actual experience on these walks.
I've done the West Coast one, which is on my Facebook for people who haven't, but people should put on the Dunedin page, when they're doing Dunedin things, so that others who aren't mobile, in the wheelchairs, whatever, can get the experience. Or see stuff that they can't go and see.
Yeah, so, it's that whole VR world as well. Yeah. Up for a level 2?
Yeah, go for it.
Tell us about a time you felt like you failed. What happened and what did you learn?
Oh, God. Because I suffer from imposter syndrome. So it happens all the time where you think...
We fail all the time.
I can't remember the actual incident, but I did come to a realisation over probably 7 years ago, because the pressure in our job can sometimes be quite a lot, that you can only do what you can do. I don't have a magic wand. I'd love one. In fact, my kids gave me 2 for Christmas a couple of years ago, because I kept saying, now if I had a wand, I'd get this person a house, because you can't, and you feel like you're failing people if you can't solve the problem. So it's a tough ask for people in the front line, especially MSD in some of those places where they just can't deliver what the person's asking them to do. So
you have to sort of set that level of expectation.
But it's not your fault.
No.
And you can't take it on you. You can only do your absolute best. And if you look at it and look at what you've done, and you say to yourself that you have done everything, then you have to manage.
Yeah, your best has to be good enough.
So then you actually have to manage the failure.
Yeah.
How do you manage that for them, and how do you manage it for yourself, that this is all it could be?
Right, I love that.
We don't have that many, which is good, but there is.
But there are. Up for a level 3?
Yeah. If you set boundaries, I'll tell you.
Okay. If you could change one thing that's in your control, what would it be? What is stopping you?
I could change one thing in my control. God, I have control over anything.
What do I have control over?
Yeah, that's a biggie. I mean, I can only apply it to your own life or your work life, and I think that I do too much, and I'm an umpire. I play petanque. I'm a unionist. I'm involved.
This extra project.
I've got this extra project. So
you're here doing a podcast,
and I have a daughter and a grandson at home with disabilities.
Yeah.
So if I could control anything, then probably my time. Yeah. And making sure, which is the whole purpose of that find the Dunedin walk, or things that I can actually do,
is enriching,
because that's time out. It's
So what stops you from saying no more often or minimising what you're...
Because the feel-good factor is also addictive, and people don't realise that. I read a Mind Food article in November's last, and it's around the endorphins and chemicals that are released when you're doing things for other people, and especially for people who live with pain, because it counteracts the impact of that pain. And Jimmy Carr said in his book, which was about the same time, happiness is an attitude, therefore you have a choice.
Okay. I don't know if I take everything from Jimmy Carr.
I know, and he's had such bad press lately. But I'm going to give the guy a break, because what he said, huge, probably the most impactful thing, anything I have learned in the last 10 years was happiness is a choice. So while I was going through all of that pain and stuff which I live with on a daily basis, it therefore to me made sense that suffering is also a choice. So
there is a negative mindset.
So you can accept you have pain and choose to be happy.
With everything else around you.
Yes, and find things to be happy about. So if you're doing things for other people, that also reduces the pain and makes you feel good.
A life of service.
Yeah, it makes you feel good.
It does. It does.
And it's just as addictive as anything else. So,
I love that, and thank you. That's an
so I'm not a saint in any way.
Oh, no, none
you know,
of us
I'm not saying I am.
No,
but
absolutely not. Thank you for indulging my below the surface.
Can like that last bit about the saint.
And we're going to leave this in. Thank you so much for joining us, Nadine.
No, thank you.
The time went way too quick.
It was good. It was not as bad as I thought. So anyone else that's doing it, they should just do it. I think this is just a great thing for history as well, because it's all very well saying we want to capture those who make a difference. It's the everyday people that actually do it, not the...
I totally wanted the unusual suspects, not the usuals. So thank you for having the courage to be here.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
I won't watch it, by the way.
You won't?